Hello students, welcome to SRIRAM's IAS. Welcome to this series of 1 PYQ a day. Today is the day of polity. We pick up one question every day and explain the approach to that question so that you can understand about how to write a better answer and get more better marks. So let's begin our series. Let's study the question, and this was asked in the year 2023 by UPSC, and it's a 10 marker. That simply means you have to write the answer in not more than 150 words. Now, let's read the question. The states in India seem reluctant to empower urban local bodies both functionally as well as financially. So, what the question is trying to ask? There are urban local bodies which were established by the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act in India in the year 1993. Now, this was the act by the parliament, the central act, and 1 year was given to the state governments to come up with their act. The urban local bodies along with the panchayats were made the state subjects. So the state government have to actually devolve the powers, and there were around 18 powers, 18 items on which the urban local bodies have to make law. They were devolved to the urban local bodies by the state government. Now, basic understanding about this word urban. What does urban really mean? So, any area which has more than 5,000 of population, and this population has a density of 400 people per square kilometer, and 75% of the male population of this area is involved in non-agricultural work. Such an area is going to be urban areas. Now, if it's a small urban area, there is going to be a body which will be running it. That will be called as the urban local body, and that urban local body for a small urban area would be Nagar Panchayat. For a considerably large area, bigger than the Nagar Panchayat area, is called as municipal council, and very large areas such as Mumbai, such as Delhi, very large population, large population density, diversification in the employment of the people, there is a body which is elected by the people, directly by the people, called as municipal corporation. So, municipal corporation, municipal council, and Nagar Panchayat. Now, these are the three important bodies which are there in India to look after the urban areas. Okay, I hope you have understood. And there is a element of direct election. That simply means that it's an instrument of grassroots democracy. So, what is the problem here? The state government seem reluctant. Why are they reluctant? They don't want to share power. That's the thing, you know. So, this answer has to be written in three parts. As we know, there has to be an introduction, there has to be a body, and conclusion. I always say it is easy to make introduction and conclusion. The introduction has to be very specific in nature, whereas conclusion has to be broad. But this body is something which you should know. Until and unless you know the body, you won't be able to write a better answer. Now, in order to know the body, you should understand the demand of the question. Demand of the question says that there are problems from from the point of view of the state governments, and they are not making the urban local bodies more empowered in India. So, what are the actual problems which are there? If you look, functionally and financially, what are the actual problems on ground if you see? See, the decentralization has not been done properly. Decentralization has not been done properly. That simply means the 18 items which needed to be devolved has not been devolved properly by the state government. This is one thing which we must understand. Second is the element of election. Elections are not taking place regularly, after regular interval in all the states in the urban local bodies. In many states, this is happening. Then comes the element of planning. Now, the planning which is made by the urban local bodies is not respected at the state level. The one size fit all plans which is made by the state government is also being used for the urban local areas. But the plans which are made by the urban local bodies has not been given enough respect. Along with it, they do not have, even if the planning is done, even if the policies are made, the state governments do not translate that into proper implementation. So there are implementation problem. So these are the proper functional problem. Then again, you have the mayor versus commissioner issues. The commissioner, which is the member of the permanent executive, can be an IAS officer, versus the powers of the mayor. Mayor in many states are directly elected also. So at times the mayor does not have the kind of power which he should have or she should have, whereas the commissioner exercises more power. So these are the functional issues which the urban local bodies are facing in the states. And the state governments are very much reluctant when it comes to improving upon these functional issues. I hope you have understood this. Now, read the question again and you will learn. The states in India seem reluctant to empower urban local bodies both functionally as well as financially. So these basically are the functional issues. These basically are the functional issues. And why the state governments are doing it? The state governments are doing it because they do not want to share the power. That's one thing. They understand, see, power sharing. The understanding about the importance of decentralization, that is lacking. Okay, so that's the point. That's the reason why the state governments are reluctant in looking after these. The urban local body. They do not want the budding politicians to come up from these urban local bodies and from these panchayats. So these are few problems at the state level. They also think that the politicians at the grassroots level, who have been elected by the grassroots democracy, elected by the people directly, are not at the stature of the leaders at the state level. So there are many attitudinal problems, problems in understanding how the development works in a country. So the state governments have to look into it. Now, after studying the functional problem, there are also financial problems which one must understand. What are the financial problems which the states are very reluctant to look for and empower the urban local bodies? One among them is the Finance Commission. Now, the role of Finance Commission is to look after the revenue sharing. If the state government doesn't want to share much of their tax proceed, why to even constitute a Finance Commission after every 5 years? There are many states in India which are not even constituting the Finance Commission at the first place. So this is one of the major issue, financial issues, which are overlooked by the state governments. Another one, the diversification of taxes. The economic activity in the urban area is so less, and majorly the revenue which is coming from the urban local area majorly is coming from what? Land revenue. So because of the lack of diversity in the economic sphere, tax collection is very low, and the state government has to look towards the development in such a manner that not only the agriculture but also the industry has to be developed in the urban areas. Now, you can very well say that urban areas do not have the avenues of agriculture. Yes, certainly, crops may not be grown there, but the processing of the food, which is also very much a part of agriculture, those industries can be there in the urban areas. And along with those industries which are majorly dependent on the agriculture, there are other kind of industries such as manufacturing industries of factories which have not been looked after by the state government, and they are very reluctant to do so. So diversification. Then the tax collection in itself is very low tax collection, and most of the times these urban local bodies, also the panchayats, but majorly the urban local bodies are not self-sufficient in revenue. They're dependent on the So their dependency on the state government or the grants given by the central government. These are the issues which are financial issues and are overlooked by the state government because of several reasons which we have discussed here. And they're reluctant in solving these issues. When they're reluctant in solving these issues, what happens? These instruments of grassroots democracy are crumbling. The panchayats are crumbling. They do not have much power. They do not have much functional flexibility, and at the same time, they do not have finances. Similarly, if you look at the urban local body, the same issues lie here. They do not have much power. Forget about the bigger municipal corporations such as the Mumbai Municipal Corporation or Delhi. They do have revenue because there is huge diversification of work. The tax collection is good. Even the state government pay attention for the development of such bodies. But think about the other urban areas. This is the definition of what lies in the urban area, and there are about 31% of the total population of India which lives in urban areas. So this is something to be looked after, and this is something which you can write in your answer. You can very well write these things in the body. Introduction and conclusion has to be made. So in introduction, you have to be very specific. They are asking about the reluctancy. So you can write about the financial reluctancy, where you can give some examples such as the Finance Commission has not been set up, and the functional reluctancy where the state government is reluctant in decentralizing the power. That can be written in introduction. Along with it, you can also write another kind of introduction where you can introduce what the urban area means, and also you can write about these three bodies, the Nagar Panchayat, the municipal council, and the municipal corporation, depending on the population and the size of the particular area and the density of the population. These areas are there. So such things can be written in introduction, whereas in conclusion you have to write something broader. Now what is that broader thing? See, the most broader thing here is decentralization. The most broader thing here is the grassroots democracy, which must at all cost be maintained and stabilized, which is not happening. So this idea, even Mahatma Gandhi talked about self-sufficient villages. This idea which has been there in India from the ancient time, where the local government was the most important government, and the development of the people starts from the local level according to the local conditions. This is not taking ground in the modern democracy. So you see, you can write quite many things in the conclusion and you can make your answer far better. So this was it. This was all about the question which has been asked by UPSC in 2023. You can write so many things which are there. There are financial problems, there are functional problems with the urban local bodies, and the state governments are very much reluctant in solving them. So thank you very much for joining me in this. We are going to meet in the next video very soon. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Jai Hind.